Hello and welcome to the Florida Person Podcast, where we went on the internet and found some of the weirdest news stories happening this week
Yeah, this week and from the past.
and from the past. We're gonna clue you in. I'm Jackie Shores.
I'm Meg Gallagher.
Florida.
Florida person.
Florida.
Florida person.
Florida.
Florida person.
Speaking about chopped up fish,
Yeah,
I was looking up cat food today
yeah.
and the history of cat food,
Oh yeah.
and I learned some things about it.
Okay. Oh, this is a segue.
It's
Great.
a segue.
Oh, okay. I love it. I want to hear more about cat food. I've wondered that because I have a few friends who like make their own cat food, and sometimes I'm like, should I make Scooter his like own cat food? I'm like, bitch, you don't
Yeah.
even cook for yourself half the time. A lot of times I just have like a can of soup, and I'm like, that's good. That's dinner.
And then whenever I think of like the olden days, I'm always like, oh, I
Yeah,
guess
what did they
cats
do?
just ate mice or whatever. And I'm like, but my little boys, they could not just fend for themselves.
Or like scraps? Didn't they just like give them your dinner scraps or something?
Turns out they had like there was like an industry for it.
Oh no!
I guess during the 19th century and early 20th centuries, meat for cats and dogs in London frequently horse meat. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
horsies.
Well,
Was sold from barrows by traders known as cat's meat men or women.
Oh,
So you'd go to the cat's meat men or the cat's meat woman. Henry Mayhew estimated in London Labour and London Poor from 1851 that the number of cats in London might be 300,000. Each cat's meat seller had a particular route and served a few hundred households. Their approach marked by mewing cats. So that's like, imagine like cats, like how our cats are in the morning, but like all the cats in the city.
The cats in London.
I wish I could go back in time and just.
It's like Night of the Living Cats.
Yeah. The idea of preparing specialized food for cats. Oh, so this was just like a big barrel of meat. Oh man, those cats must have been going crazy.
Oh god.
What is this? The idea of preparing specialized food for cats came later than dog food and dog biscuits, of course, because dogs get special treatment. This was likely due to the idea that cats could readily fend for themselves. In 1837, a French writer, Manny de Mornay, critiqued this idea. And he says, it is thought wrongly that the cat, ill-fed, hunts better and takes more mice. This, too, is a grave error. The cat who is not given food is feeble and sickly. As soon as he has bitten into a mouse, he lies down to rest and sleep. While well fed, he is wide awake and satisfies his natural taste in chasing all that belongs to the rat family. Now, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I mean, just speaking from experience, it's like every time I see any cats that we've ever had, they have their meal and then they're like, oh boy, gotta lay down, gotta digest this meal. Like they're not lively.
If I had a rat problem. I mean,
I don't know. I think I never want to see a kitty cat not get food, but also like that doesn't seem. I don't know if the science works out, my man. You know, like a cat that's like well fed is gonna be like, oh, I'm all good. I'm gonna take a nap now. It's time for my nap.
20 years later, another French writer, Nicolas Jean-Baptiste Boyard, expanded on the idea. Normally, in the country, no care is taken of a cat's food, and he is left to live, it is said, from his hunting. But when he is hungry, he hunts the pantry's provisions far more than the mouse. because he does not pursue them and never watches them by need, but by instinct and attraction. And so, to neglect feeding a cat is to render him at the same time useless and harmful, while with a few scraps regularly and properly given, the cat will never do any damage and will render much service. I like these Frenchmen that are just like
pondering.
Mm-hmm. Going to the salon.
I've got this idea about cats I've been kicking around. But it's like, I've been got this idea about these cats and what makes them go. How do you get a cat to be your friend?
Oh, no.
It's a really bad French voice. But, yeah, I don't know. I like the idea that these guys are kicking around the idea of how you make a cat do that, but also maybe this idea around maybe the cats don't need to be in service of anybody. Maybe the whole idea is just like have your cuddly kitty and feed them too, and maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough.
If they want to pursue mice, then they probably will, because then it's like cat toys everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Scooter doesn't really catch any. I've never seen him catch anything, and I don't know that he's capable. The only thing I've ever seen him do is walk up to a spider and suck it into his mouth, and I don't know if he ate it or accidentally swallowed it whole. That was the only time I ever saw him interact like in a predatory way towards anything. And
I've seen Malcolm. I've seen him hunt and attack a moth, and he ate it.
There you go. See, he actually. He had to work. Like this spider was like hanging on a string. You know, like sometimes when I think like the spider goes too far down like their butt string, and they're like, "Wow, I'm not in my nest," or what? And hanging there like spinning, and he just walked up and went. And I think he was surprised too. I don't know that. I don't know. That's it. That's I saw him once like kind of paw at an ant, and again, this is like a 20-something pound cat, and bugs are about as far as we go. I don't know that he'd ever get after anything else.
I think Malcolm would go after. He would go after a mouse for sure. Theo would not ever. Theo would just be like.
Well, Theo's sort of a silver spoon kind of cat. He was born with the silver spoon in his mouth, sort of.
Yes, he certainly was. And Malcolm is from Alabama. He was from Alabama.
Those are two different things.
Bustin' from Alabama.
Bustin'? Oh.
And so, and they say that this is years later. By 1941, canned food for animals was so successful that producers were breeding horses just for dog food and slaughtering 50,000 of them per year.
Ooh, conflicted about that.
Don't like that at all. Yeah. But when tin and meat were rationed during World War II and pet food was classified as non-essential, producers had to get creative. The combination of these imposed rations and pushback from animal lovers who were furious about the number of horses being killed every year for dog food created a golden opportunity to make a dry kibble and stop using horses.
Yeah, stop using horses. I feel like there's enough like kind of runoff meat from the meat industry that you can just use, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have horse meat fact. There used to be, I think, 2 in the United States when I was a kid. And I know this only because I used to go to horse camp, because of course I did. I went to a thing called horse
everybody must
camp.
have been talking about that.
Yeah, we wrote letters being like, stop killing horses.
Oh my gosh.
They had us write letters and send them. Stop killing these horses, please, mister. And I mean, they closed down. I don't think we do horse meat at all.
Thank you for your letters.
Yeah, I think I did it. I think it was me. I think I really appealed to their sense of humanity. And it wasn't just the unpopularity of it that eventually shut it down. And I guess we don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. I mean, I feel like horses are in that special. I know like it's all just what we decided as humans and blah blah blah. But horses are in that protected category with cats and dogs, and I think we all know that. So.
Yeah, cats are. I was looking into the whole that whole awful Pope who decided that it was a good idea to like start killing cats
What?
because they were linked to Satanism
Oh, what? Is
back
this
in
a
the
long
olden
time
times.
ago?
This is like olden times. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm like,
Because
was it
Egypt.
the Pope that quit?
No,
That
no.
Pope no one liked, so he
Benedict.
quit. Yeah,
Pope Benedict. No,
yeah, the one who was like, wasn't he like a Nazi or something?
he was. He grew up in the Hitler Youth.
Yeah, so not like his choice, but
Yeah. No, because cats
sus.
had a good many for many years. Like in Egypt, we know
Yeah, of
cats
course.
were
Yeah.
beloved. Romans liked cats because cats went after uh vermin in the crops.
Yep.
But in the 1230s, this changed
Mhm.
when Pope Gregory the Ninth issued a papal bull called Vox in Rama. So it was this letter that he had this whole thing that he put out that his opinions on everything satanic, and he linked cats to Satanism and witchcraft.
Yeah, I know they did that because they were like, that's their familiars.
Yeah, and throughout the medieval period, they just had an awful time, and they were tortured, and they were culled in huge numbers, and what is it? They do fake versions of that festival, like in Europe, where
Okay, like yeah, let's remember that, guys.
yeah, and they're like,
let's
"Oh, but it's
commemorate
funny,"
it.
where they throw, like, the cats out the window, but it's like, "Oh, it's funny because 'cause they're just stuffed animals." I'm like, "I don't think that's funny at
Yeah,
all.
not into it.
Sorry."
Also, I feel like,
So
it kind of like what goes around comes around because think about it. If they weren't so like down on the cats and getting rid of all those cats would have run around to catch those rats, and those rats were out there spreading that plague, right?
that's kind of what this is about because that's
Yeah.
what they're like. That's what they're saying. They're like, "Is that really what happened?" They're like, "Well, let's table that for right now." Then this is the part that I really like,
I think it contributed.
before we get to that whole thing is like kind of like why did Pope Gregory the Ninth issue Vox in Rama in the first place?
Yeah.
Well, heretical
Right.
beliefs were on the rise at the time. Many, such as the Waldensians and the Cathars, were directly challenging the Catholic Church. This needed to end. So Gregory the Ninth set up inquisitors and started what would later become the Inquisitions. And so we know of the Spanish Inquisition. There was also German Inquisitions. And the German Grand Inquisitor was this guy called Conrad of Marburg. And he was increasingly alarmed at the rise of satanic cults in Germany. So he went around and he got proof by torturing people and get these confessions. So he was just torturing people for these confessions.
Yeah.
And it's really awful.
Yeah, people talk about how it's not like the best these days, but it was way worse then.
They would say anything like you're being tortured. And so then he would write down what they were saying. And it's like, well, this is a confession. And so they have a selection from like one of the ceremonies, like what one of these confessions described a ceremony was like. So listen to this. Okay. All right. This is a description of what happens when initiates enter the satanic sect.
Mm-hmm.
First, they would be met by a giant frog or toad.
What?
They kiss the creature on the mouth or hindquarters and get
like
some
on
of its
butt? What?
They kiss the yeah. So they kiss the giant frog on the mouth or on the butt to get some of its saliva. This causes a thin, pale man with black eyes to appear.
Okay.
So then
it's like Slender Man.
And what are you going to do to this guy? You're going to give him a kiss too.
Of course.
And
why not?
And as a result of this, the memory of the Catholic faith totally disappears from the kisser, like the one who kisses the slender man.
Wild. What were they tripping on?
And so now this is when the cat comes into the picture, my favorite part of this. Afterwards, they sit down to a meal, and when they have arisen from it, the certain statue, which is usual in its set of this kind, a black cat descends backwards with its tail erect. First the novice, then the master, then each one of the order who are worthy and perfect, kiss the cat on its buttocks.
What's with all the butt kissing? There's so much butt kiss. Like, that's the real problem. I'll sit down with Slender Man, the frog, and the cat, but don't, like, why are we kissing all their butts? I don't get it.
Kiss
what?
my butt. Maybe that's where kiss my butt comes from.
Like, that's the foul part of it.
I guess that's what maybe that's where kiss my butt comes from. It says, then each returns to his place, and speaking certain responses, they incline their heads toward the cat. And they, forgive us, says the master. And the one next to him repeats it, and the third responding, we know, master, and we must obey.
Okay.
And that's, some poor person was being tortured and like said all those things. They said, ha ha ha.
All right, come on. At the first part where they're like, and then we kiss its butt, and then I go over to this guy, and then I kiss their butt too, and then there's a lot like that's the point where the Pope goes, okay, okay. I feel like you're messing with me, aren't you? You gotta be messing with me.
So then this Marburg guy was like, I got the proof now. Spread the word. And so then cat burning became popular in medieval France. And they were doing that in France. And they were doing it in Denmark for Lent. In Belgium, that's what it is. That's that place. Belgium, it was the custom to throw felines from church belfries and then burn them as part of the Kattenstoot festival.
No.
And they do that now, but they're like, ha ha ha, we're doing it with stuffed cats. Ha ha ha, just little stuffed animals. Bishops in the German kingdoms nicknamed heretics Ketzer, meaning cat, and some even called them Katzenkussers, cat kissers. Katzenkussers.
They should have just called them butt kissers, because it's like, it's not even exclusive to cats. They're just kissing anybody's butt.
And so the British didn't follow European trends.
Good.
And they were still like, no, they still catch our vermin.
Mm-hmm.
And they were praised, for, what is this? There's evidence that their ability to catch vermin was praised as being akin to the devil capturing souls. And the black cat in England was seen.
It's just a good thing, guys. It's just like, it's a good thing, you idiots. God.
But apparently white cats, they thought they were the ones that were scary.
Oh, interesting. You would have thought it was the other way around, the way these people are acting.
Exactly.
But, okay.
So they say that there's little evidence that the mass cat call led to the Black Death. Because it's true that the bubonic plague was initially spread by fleas that lived on rats. But fleas aren't fussy and will happily infect humans, dogs, and cats.
Mm-hmm.
And that there were several plagues that kept happening for 500 years, even in cat-loving countries. So cats are able to repopulate the area really quickly.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen
the
cats
cat calling just wasn't successful.
Yeah, cats are real good at having like multiples, a lot of babies. That's why you got to get them neutered. If you have a cat, get them neutered, because they will find a way. They will. They will copulate.
They will. So, jury's still out. Probably not, because the cats, even if they killed a bunch of cats, if there was like 2 left, they'd be
I feel like maybe it was a higher power thing. Like, you guys are just the worst. Here's a plague. because you guys are being awful. You're being awful
Being
people.
meanies.
And like I
mean.
said, like people complain, like these days, there's a lot of bad stuff going on these days. But holy moly, am I glad I wasn't born like 600 years ago in Europe, because it sounded like a really bad time for almost everyone. Like just a real bad time. Everybody's real poor and like not a lot going for them, and there's a lot of sickness, and it sounded like it sucked.
Yeah, I'm glad that I don't live during the hundreds of years that plague was going on.
Pretty bad. It seemed like a pretty bad time to be around.
And I'm glad I'm not a cat at that time either.
And imagine, like, with all these imaginations, like, you know, kissing the butts of just about every, like, somewhere there was an author there. If they would have just like learned to read and write and stuff and written some of this stuff down instead of just like butts and let's burn the witch, you would have had a novel. You could have had a novel.
Exactly.
Like you had some ideas there. I see it.
Well, actually, I guess they'd need like editing, because it'd be like there's your characters keep kissing butts.
Yeah. And the editor's like, maybe this character doesn't get their butt kissed. You have a lot of the butt stuff.
Kiss my butt.
Kiss my butt. And then this guy comes in and he gets his butt kissed. And then this frog's in there getting his butt kissed. Also, frogs don't really have a butt, so
yeah,
you know, it's kind of just like it's just the end of the frog is really it.
The hind quarters.
And cat butts are pretty cute. I don't want to kiss them though. Why do cats always try and like put their butt like right up in your face?
I guess
like, look at it.
Worship me.
Yeah, maybe they're like, this is what they used to do. Kiss my butt.
This is what Satan told me to do.
It's like
pledge allegiance to Satan. Kiss my butt.
Kiss my butt. And I won't. I'll kiss my kitty, but not its butt. So I don't know if you know, but let's go back to England. Not this time talking about the cats and whatever. This today, this came out today. This weekend, it might have been Memorial Day weekend here, which is like, you know, totally, or like it's an American thing, not a UK thing, obviously. Obvious. I don't know why I said it that way. It's an American holiday. But in UK, they have a totally different holiday that went on this weekend, and it's the yearly cheese wheel downhill chase.
Oh my gosh. Do you think anybody that went to the Beyonce concert was like, oh, I'm going to have to miss this cheese wheel?
Was that happening in
London?
Oh, interesting. I wonder if she like, you know, because this happens during the day. I assume the Beyonce isn't happening at like noon. So maybe like you could fit both into the day, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's just like a really full day. It's like cheese wheel in the afternoon, Beyonce at night. Like that's a full life.
Greatest day ever.
Yeah, you go home, kiss your cat's butt, and that was like a really full day. It was a really full day. So it says contestants chase cheese wheel down a hill in chaotic UK race. London, the big cheese of extreme UK sports events, is back. Hundreds of spectators gathered Monday to watch dozens of reckless racers chase a 7-pound, 3-kilogram wheel of double Gloucester cheese down the near vertical Cooper's Hill near Gloucester in southwest England. So I guess it wasn't in London, but you know, they're writing from London. I don't know.
Close enough, I guess.
It's Gloucester, I think. So Glou. Gloucester, is that how you say it?
I think it's Gloucester, yeah.
But it's Glou. All right, well, okay. I'm stupid as an American.
I only know that because that was like a word in like a Shakespeare monologue I did like years ago.
Say it again real quick.
Gloucester.
Great. So it's Gloucester, and forget I said anything but that.
It's okay.
The first racer to finish behind the fast Rollin Cheese gets to keep it. You know, I mean, that's not the worst prize, but it looks like a pretty steep hill. It looks like you might get a broken leg, but maybe you get a cheese out of it.
How big is the cheese?
It's a 7-pound wheel of cheese. So they toss the cheese down the hill, and then everybody runs after it and tries to get it. And it's just like a fun British tradition.
All right. Well, that sounds
Who says
fun.
they don't have fun out there, you know? Like, they're doing it. They're doing it. The cheese rolling race has been held at Cooper's Hill, about 100 miles west of London, since at least 1826. And the sport of cheese rolling is believed to be much older. The rough and tumble event often comes with safety concerns. Few competitors manage to stay on their feet all the way down the 200-yard or 180-meter hill, and this year several had to be helped limping from the course. Canadian contestant Delaney Irving, 19, won the women's race despite being briefly knocked unconscious.
What? Wow, that's a real athlete. Like, if you win a race
and
and
you
you're
wake up and still go after the cheese, you're like, let me get that cheese. Oh, where's the cheese? I don't think I'd do it. I don't have good enough health insurance to go after cheese like that. I'll just pay for my cheese. I'll just grab my cheese the old-fashioned way. 7 pounds of cheese is a lot of cheese, though. I just remember hitting my head, and now I have the cheese, said Irving, who comes from Namino, British Columbia. So put that, like, quote, that's the quote. I just remember hitting my head, and now I have the cheese.
And now I have the cheese.
Can somebody put that on a shirt, like a print on demand? I just remember hitting my head, and now I have the cheese. Oh, I wish somebody would have written that in, like, my yearbook.
Oh my god.
So it says Matt Corolla, 28, from Manchester in northwestern England, won the first of several men's races. Asked how he had prepared, he told reporters, I don't think you can train for it, can you? It's just being an idiot. And that's the end of the article. So I would definitely go watch this. I would love to go. I've never been to Europe, but one day I will when we don't have, inflation and like terribly the world ending every other day and like the debt ceiling apparently. Anything when I can afford it, one day I'd like to go to Europe and I'd like to build it around. I'm gonna have to remember this happens at the end of May because I would definitely take a trip just to see this. Just to see a bunch of grown people running after cheese and getting all beat up. It's like a hockey game, but with cheese.
Yeah, gosh. Wow, what a lucky lady.
Yeah.
7 pounds of cheese. Going home with 7 pounds of cheese.
I remember hitting my head, and now I have the cheese. I love it. I don't know. It's a fun story. This is what we look for here is fun stories about cheese rolling, and the picture of it, like everybody's just like getting the shit kicked out of them by this hill. This hill is like, I remember rolling down hills when I was a kid, but like,
this is like a
bro. Yeah, and there's like multiple pictures on this article. I'm gonna link this article, but it's just adults. It's really steep hill. That's a steep hill, man. Yeah.
That is.
And everybody's just like really amped for this.
That's like really like they're like in the dirt rolling down.
There's a picture of this guy with a big old cut on his forehead, and he's just like, yeah. I don't think he won the cheese, though.
Idiot.
Woof. It says a participant receives medical treatment after the cheese rolling contest at Cooper's Hill in Brockworth, Gloucestershire, Monday, May 29th. Wait, that was yesterday. Yeah, so it was on Memorial Day.
Oh, okay.
I guess in their way, they're memorializing their dignity. So
they're memorializing cheese, and
cheese is so good. I'm not good enough to break your leg for, but cheese is so good.
To get a head injury over.
So good. So good. I love it. Do you have any more to tell us about cat food and cats and kissing butts? Or is that's the end of that?
That's all my cat related stories of the day. And Malcolm is still in the closet with me. And he's looking very concerned towards the drape. So I don't know. Maybe Theo's gonna bust in any moment. Roll in like he's going after
butt
wheel of
first.
cheese.
He's going in butt first. Well, I got one more Florida story.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So
what's going on in my state?
I always like to end here on like a Florida story, as is our namesake, and you know Florida's like wilding out lately. Ron is sanctimonious.
Oh my God, Meatball Ron.
See, what should happen is Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump should just roll after something down a hill, and like that should be the and whoever catches whatever it is, if it's like a big thing of cheese or like I don't know, like 100 Twitter followers or something like that, then whoever catches it, then they get to be the nominee, and that's how they should work it out.
I think they should roll down a hill, but that hill like ends like
off a cliff.
A giant
it's a cliff.
Pit.
It's not.
Yes, a cliff.
It's actually just a pit, and it's that. What's that thing in Star Wars? In the Return of the Jedi, where they're all getting pushed into that pit with the teeth.
That would be nice.
Or like
a sandworm. Like a sandworm. Yeah,
it's just
like that.
Just swallow them up. There's something about calling him Rob DeSanctimonious where it's just like somebody needs to tell Trump it's like that's like the most senior citizen moment. Rob, like it's like I'm owning this guy, I'm calling him Rob. It's really weird. It's getting so weird. Everybody's so weird, and it's like maybe just concentrate on the debt ceiling. Maybe we wouldn't have all these problems.
You know, DeSantis throws pens at the end of his speech into the audience. Like, he's disgusting. He's a maniac.
Like it's a guitar pick?
Yeah, like it's fun.
He also eats pudding with his
hands. They all flinch, and they're all like, ugh.
They're all like, what the hell, dude? Like, why are you doing that?
What are you doing?
I hate all of them. I think honestly, like all the politicians should just get we gotta start clean slate. We're gonna start over. None of you guys get to do this. None of you.
Well, definitely not Ron DeSantis is a freaking hateful piece of shit.
Yeah, and also you got to do this for a few years. Like you're done. Why do you have to keep moving forward? Just like be like, all right, I did a little bit. Now I'm gonna go barbecue or something. I'm gonna go roll back into that pit. Just roll back into that pit. I don't like them. Anyway, Florida's wilding out for a few things. But here's one. Here's one. Chirping sounds lead airport officials to bag filled with smuggled parrot eggs.
Uh-oh. Who's smuggling what sort of parrot eggs?
It's the little green ones. They're really cute. Very cute.
Oh, like the pure green parrots?
Yeah, so the 24 bright green baby parrots began chirping and bobbing their heads the second anyone neared the large cages that have been their homes since hatching in March. The Central American natives seized from a smuggler at Miami International Airport are being raised by the Rare Species Conservatory Foundation, a round-the-clock effort that includes 5 hand feedings a day in a room filled with large cages. At just 9 weeks old. I know they're very cute. I love birds. I love tropical birds. So beautiful. They're beautiful.
Oh, they're so pretty.
At just 9 weeks old, these parrots have already survived a harrowing journey after being snatched from their nests in a forest. Awful. They are almost fully feathered now, and the staff has started transitioning them from a special formula to a diet of food pellets and fruit. You ready to meet the children? Asked Paul Riello, a Florida International University professor and director of the foundation, as he led visitors Friday into a small building tucked behind a sprawling house in Loxahatchee, a rural community near West Palm Beach. It's closer to Boca, but, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever landmark you want to use.
Whatever, yeah, definitely.
I feel like Boca Raton's like well enough known that you're like, well, the people outside of Florida aren't gonna know.
They're not gonna, yeah.
like, because that's near where like I grew up, and yeah, Boca Raton's, it's right near West Boca. I don't know why I'm like really focused in on that. I'm like, Palm Beach is like not that close. It's not that far, but it's right near Boca. Just say Boca.
Just say Boca.
Say Boca, you bitches. They are hand-raised babies, he said, as the chicks squawked and looked inquisitively at the visitors. They've never seen Mom and Dad, and they've been raised by us since they hatched. It was the hatchlings' faint chirping inside a carry-on bag at the Miami airport that brought them to the attention of the U.S. Customs and Border Protections officer. The passenger, it's Sus Ta Wu, had just arrived on TACA Airlines, TACA. I've never heard of that airline. TACA. I don't know. It's all capitalized, so it might be TACA Airlines. I don't know. Flight 392 from Managua, Nicaragua, on March 23rd, and was changing flights in Miami to return home to Taiwan, according to a criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in Miami. Officers stopped Wu at a checkpoint. He was asked about the sound coming from his bag, which Riello later described as a sophisticated temperature-controlled cooler. So they're like,
they're
in a cooler. They're basically in a Yeti.
Oh my gosh.
Wu reached in and pulled out a smaller bag and showed the officer an egg, the complaint said. The officer looked inside and saw more eggs and tiny featherless bird that had just hatched. Ooh, so that's the narc. One hatched and narked on him. Good for him. Good. Otherwise, they would have definitely been sold in like some of those like markets and all that. He told the officer that there were 29 eggs and that he did not have documentation to transport the birds, according to the complaint. Wu was arrested and on May 5th pleaded guilty to charges of smuggling birds into the United States. He faces up to 20 years in prison when he's sentenced on August 1st. Look, I don't love animal smuggling, but I feel like 20 years might be a little harsh. You know?
20 years, yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a lot. Something happened where they were like, there's too much smuggling going on. And
I guess we have to really like make this
like a real thing.
Crime.
Because there was
strong sentencing.
I remember watching a Locked Up Abroad episode where this guy was smuggling like venomous snakes from Africa, and he was doing it through Miami because everybody does it through Miami International for whatever reason. I guess everything lands there. And he was smuggling from Africa, and it was like cobras and stuff, and he was just in his carry-on bag. The illegal like snake trade market, you know.
What a maniac.
And I'm like, that's like some snakes on a plane shit for real, and that really happened. And it's like all somebody has to do is like reach it, or just like it gets out, just gets out. Or what about they were like, he's like telling the story because he eventually got caught and went to jail. It's Locked Up Abroad, blah blah blah. But and like I guess he got locked up coming through another country, but he went through Miami like a dozen times and never got caught. And he was telling the story about how he was smuggling these tarantulas through Miami airport.
Oh no.
And the custom guy like sticks his hand in the bag because like his bag beeped or whatever, and like luckily he didn't feel them or they didn't bite him or whatever, but it's like that guy would have died.
Oh my gosh.
So that guy should be locked up abroad. I don't know about the parrot guy. I don't like that you're smuggling these little beautiful baby birds in, but I somehow 20 years seems crazy.
20.
That does seem like, all right, okay.
20 years. Take notice. Don't smuggle birdies.
I guess.
Don't smuggle birdies. Don't take little birdies away from their parents.
I mean, it's a crime, and there should be a punishment for it. But like 20 years locked away, like that guy's not a threat to society.
No, that's a lot of money to spend on somebody.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Maybe it should be like a major fine. Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it should carry like some sort of sentence just to dissuade people from doing it, but 20 years in jail, it does seem like a lot.
Maybe he should be forced to live with parrots in the jungle.
Maybe he should be forced to kiss a bunch of cat butts. Like he should have to kiss cat butts for the rest of his life. And that would be like a sentence that you would always be like, I really did do a bad thing. Here's another butt in my face.
Another butt.
And the cats would like it, because I do feel like cats are like, kiss my butt. Because they do that. They do that where they get their butt like real close to your face and like, do you like this? This is my butthole. That is what I like about having a long-haired cat. You never see his butthole. It's like he's very prude about it, and he keeps it covered. He
keeps it covered.
That's for.
Oh yeah, I see my cat's butts.
The box.
I see my cat's butts all the time, the boys.
A little pucker. The officer took the bag and contacted the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. By then, 8 of the birds had already hatched or were in the process of hatching. It didn't take long for federal officials to reach out to Riello. So basically, the birds are doing good. A forensics team at Florida International extracted DNA samples from the eggshells and the deceased birds to identify the species. They discovered 24 surviving parrots were from 8 or 9 clutches and included 2 species, the yellow-naped Amazon and the red-lored Amazon. So I guess a couple different green parrots. There's 2 different kinds. But this is the thing, is the 24 of the 26 chicks survived. So in being in this environment, 2 of them died. So maybe he should go to jail for 20 years.
20 years, exactly.
10 years. Maybe I agree now because I hate that.
Bird.
If you would have just left them alone with their parents, leave them with their parents.
Yeah.
That's kidnapping. You kidnapped these birds.
It is.
So I'll leave you with the end quote from the guy Riello from the rescue. He said, "Parrots live a long time. They are sentient creatures. They're highly intelligent, very social, and these guys deserve a chance. The question will be, where will they wind up? What is their journey going to be? It's just the beginning."
Oh, babies. Babies need to start their life.
Yeah, so it is they're trying to rehabilitate the birds and take care of them and hoping they're to re-release them back into the wild. So
I hope they can do that.
Let's hope they do. And they do think that if he would have been able, Wu, to get on the plane with the birds, that more of them would have died because it was another 24 to 36 hours of travel from Miami back to Taiwan.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't like that. I'm glad the birds are in a safe environment now, and we're rooting for you, birdies. We're rooting for you.
We're rooting for you. We want you to be free to fly around in West Boca.
Yeah. So there you go. So I think we learned a lot this week. About some beautiful birds doing well, about some doofuses chasing after cheese, and about kissing cat butts.
Cats. Yes.
And I think that's where we'll leave you.
I got some cat butts to kiss. I got one down here. Malcolm Maurice. He's not looking at me now.
Scooter's just laying.
He's just sleeping now.
He's like, Well, if you want to kiss a cat butt, or at least hear more about it, you can tune in again. That's the end. That's the end of this one.
Yeah.
So we'll see you again now on the Florida Person Podcast next week when we find the weirdest news.
Yeah. Bye.
Florida.
Florida person.
Florida.
Florida person.
Florida. Florida.
Florida person.